Hello, welcome once again to MG Tracey. Now, if your Dyson head is starting to look a bit like this, or is not performing as well as it originally did, then let me show you how to take this bit off and what bits you need to clean inside. It'll take you about 2 minutes and it'll restore your Dyson back to its peak performance. So if your Dyson or Shark starts to look like this, then actually there's going to be a lot of debris inside that needs to be cleaned. I'm just going to show you how to do that quickly and easily. This is my little thing. I often have scissors. That's handy if you've got to get rid of hair. I use the spoon and some brushes and some cotton buds, and then my absolute favourite for most jobs, your microfibre cloth. Okay, so let me show you. We're going to take this apart now and I'll show you where the dirt builds up. This is the top of the range Dyson, but it still fills itself up with dirt that will stop it running unless you clean it every so often. This is where the spoon comes in. So you will find here, you just need to flip this. You can use a coin and just twist it, and then you will find there that all comes out. Now this one actually has an anti-tangle comb in it, but if it's an earlier Dyson, you're going to need your scissors there to start to get rid of the hairs. You need to make sure there is no debris inside there, because when you look underneath, the Dyson's a bit more advanced than many of the Sharks that have a separate motor and then drive bands or elastic bands that power the one or two heads. This is the digital motor that you're looking at, and the actual beater roll or the brush bar, it fits over it, so you need to make sure there isn't anything in it, and actually that one's pretty good. Now this is where you start to see some of, I think, the design issues here with Dyson. I can try and point those out. So you see these bits here, so remember this is your motor. Look, this is just all full of dust that gets in the motor and will eventually stop it working. So it just seems to fit in there. It's almost like clay really, but it just builds up with hair and dust. That all needs to come out. And then you'll find it here as well. Hopefully you can see that. Can you see that's coming away? Look, there's tons of it, look. And it all builds up inside here, and this is supposed to be, these are supposed to be air vents, look, to aid the motor. So you're going to go right the way around here, and there's just tons of this stuff in here. It's like a magic trick. All that's all got stuck inside your machine. So let's try and get that all out. Incredible, isn't it? All that's actually inside your head there. So keep going. You can see this. As you tap it, all comes out, and you can start to see what that motor should look there. Look, it should all be clean all the way around. So there's some difficult bits to get at there. But that should be clear all the way around the motor, and so should that bit there. So that's the first bit there. You can see how much has come out there. Now you know why I had to put the wire paper. Some of it is like clay, some of it is very fine hair. And this is on like a $700 or £700 top of the range machine, and it still fills up with rubbish on the inside. So the next thing I'm going to try and help you with is, and it doesn't do any damage, but it just doesn't look very good, does it? And you get this with a whole host of different vacuum heads. So I'm just going to show you how I clean that there. Just going to finish off this motor now, make sure there's nothing else that shouldn't be there. And we'll just double check that we've got everything out of here. Yeah, that's all moving freely now. I think we're okay. Now, how long does this take to fill up? Depends how dusty and how often you're vacuuming. But for me, it starts to look like this, and all the Dysons are the same, and most of the Sharks, within a month, to be honest. The minute your filters on the Shark start showing discoloration, then there's a lot more that's trapped in the machine. So how do I get at this impossible to get at around the back here? Is I just feed this through here, and then I gently turn the motor. Now be careful here, you know, you've got a head that is very expensive, and we don't want to damage that motor, because this is, without it obviously nothing works. And you can just feed this through and it will go round. You can pull it through the other side, and then you can do a bit of this. And if you wiggle and waggle, and if you need to, hit it with a bit of spray. It looks slightly damp, not too wet, and you will find that you can clean that. So I'm just going to have a go with that now, and I'll show you what it looks like after we've got most of the muck off. Now just keep working this, and if you need to, you can sort of just put your spoon in there or whatever, and just keep moving this around, and you will find that you can get all that muck off there, and it'll look a lot nicer. This is purely cosmetic really. I don't think this is doing any damage. It just looks so much better when it's clean, rather than when you get your vacuum out, the first thing you see is the whole thing's full of muck. Right, so that's okay for me. I've given that a clean. Actually, there's a bit left here that I was struggling to get out, and you could just wiggle a bit more if you want to, but I'm happy that that's clean. So the next bit we need to make sure we've got no muck trapped in is inside here. And what you can find is in these comb bits here, can you see a bit there? In these comb bits you'll get, this is like a little bit of glass or something's got stuck there. So make sure, this is where the bristles are being cleaned for hair, but they do seem to get bits stuck in there. Little stones get stuck, pieces of glass, pieces of plastic. So you can see that all needs just to be pinged out. I'm just using small scissors. Just go and make sure there's nothing else in there, because otherwise, if there's stuff in there, that won't remove the hairs when it goes around. See, there's a few bits there. And then the last one is along the back here, so it's really difficult to video, but you see there's another air jet here. But if you look carefully, look, can you see this here? Yeah, look, there's another load of hair that just seems to get stuck in that long airway there. And when you would think, when you're spending all this money on cutting edge vacuum cleaners, that you could actually design one where most of the muck doesn't actually stay in it, wouldn't you? You know, it's all very good talking about the power and lift away and how easy it is, but it's such a ball's ache, isn't it, having to clean them or change your wash filters. I don't know. I can understand why some people just like to stay with vacuums that have bags, you know. Even some of the manufacturers are going back into that now. You just chuck away the bag, everything's in it, and you're done. You don't have to worry about the inside of your vacuum smelling or anything. Actually, I've just noticed as that's come round, look, there's even more in that motor there. As far as that's a big chunk that I've missed. Oh, heavens, look at the size of that. Right, I think we are there now. We just need to put that back. People have written to me and said they have a lot of trouble with hairs on these wheels as well. So again, just get a sharp knife if it hasn't happened here. But just get a sharp knife and just gradually ease them off or cut them out, making sure obviously you don't damage the wheels. The Sharks tend to be a bit more prone to this than the Dyson. Then again, everything else seems to fill up with dust, doesn't it, in the Dyson. So now we can just put that back together. So we gently slide that over the motor there, and you just have to line this bit up really. I wonder where that goes now. Let's have a look. That's it. Where's my trusty spoon gone? Make sure you've tightened that bit up there. And there we are. So there now, our Dyson's okay for another few months. If you have any other tips or recommendations, then please let me know. But look, that hugely expensive vacuum had that lot after a month and a half just trapped in one of the heads, and I'm sure if I was to do the laser head, I'll find the same. Hope you find it useful. There's lots of vacuum and coffee machine videos and all the gimmicks I like on my channel. Please like, share and subscribe. Send me a message if you've got a problem. Send it via messages and I'll do my best to come back to you within a day or so. This is Paul from London. See you in the next video. Cheerio.